Good morning, everyone. Welcome in to the Golden Sombrero Show. If you're listening to us on YouTube, happy Saturday. We've had 2 days worth of baseball, and if you're listening to us on Monday on BlazeRadioOnline.com, happy Monday night. Hopefully your Monday wasn't as bad, and hopefully your Monday was better because the fact that there was baseball games on today. This is the Golden Sombrero Show. I'm Dominic Stern, joined just by Ryan Blank today. Cole Bradley could not join us today, but that's fine. We'll still talk about some baseball. Ryan, how are you doing?
Doing good. A little bit tired, but doing good. Excited to talk some baseball because opening day and baseball that matters is now being played. So it's awesome.
Right, exactly. I'm right there with you on the being tired part, but it's a little bit easier to wake up in the morning knowing that my Padres are 2-0, your Royals are 1-0. The Royals, they had a very entertaining game, very long game on Thursday opening day. Tell us a bit about that.
The 9th longest game in franchise history, and it didn't even go in extra innings. It was a 4-hour, 26-minute game. 24 runs were scored. Top of the first inning, back-to-back leadoff doubles from the Rangers, and they scored 5 runs off Brad Keller before an out was recorded. Then the outfield really kicked in. Andrew Benintendi makes a play scaling the netting along the left field line. And then Michael A. Taylor throws out his first runner at home, and then the offense took over, really. Scored 5 runs in the first inning, and it was incredible that low-radar signings and young guys got it done, like Michael A. Taylor. They signed to a 1-year, $2 million deal, 3 for 5 in the game with a home run and 3 RBIs. Kyle Isbell, 3 hits, 2 RBIs in his rookie debut. The bullpen actually looked really good. Keller went an inning and a third and gave up 6 runs. The bullpen went 7 2/3 innings, gave up 4 runs. I was very impressed with the bullpen. I thought they looked really good. So I was extremely happy with how they looked. The offense was great. Everyone in the line, every starter in the lineup scored. 8 different guys recorded an RBI. I was extremely happy with how the offense was from top to bottom. And I think that this lineup is extremely dangerous, and just wait till they get fully healthy with Bondi coming back hopefully very soon. And I think that will be exactly what the Royals need, is getting Mondi back. And then having his bat at the top of the lineup will be huge for the Royals. So I think he's going to – Mondi has been one of my breakout star candidates this year, and I think that he will break out. He's just got to get healthy. So I was very happy with the Royals. 3-hit Witt is back. Soler sent a moonshot over the center field wall. And the offense was getting it done in all facets. The one bad thing to come from opening day is that Hunter Dozier left early with a right thumb contusion. So hopefully yesterday's day off after Thursday gave him a little bit more rest to where he might be able to go today. If not, it will probably be Hans or Alberto over at third, which is just fine. Alberto, I thought, hit really well in spring training, and he hits lefties very well. So I like what the Royals have. I think the depth is good. So I was very, very pleased with how the Royals looked on opening day from the bullpen and the offensive side. Dom, talk about your Padres.
Dude, Padres, they lived up to the billing in the first 2 games. Yu Darvish and Blake Snell, neither of them got through 5 innings, and the Padres are still 2-0. And I think that speaks volumes to the fact this team has a very good bullpen and a very good lineup. And when the rotation is at its full strength, they're still getting worked in. Those 2 guys, those are their first starts at Petco Park in a very long time. I truly feel like the Padres have a very good shot and can win the World Series. They showed it. Now it is the Arizona Diamondbacks, who aren't the greatest opponent, but the pitching staff has stranded base runners. They've struck out a lot of guys. And the lineup is hitting with runners in scoring position. They're hitting home runs. They just look great. And I couldn't be any more pleased with the way the Padres started. Now, the Padres did allow 6 runs in the 5th inning on opening day. But outside of that, the pitching staff has been fantastic. And I hope that can continue. And, it's going to have to when the Dodgers come to town in 2 weeks. But the way the Padres started off this first series has been cool. And this is all 3 years in the Machado Tatis era. The Padres have started off 2-0, and that's always a good thing. It's a little bit of consistency. Now, the first 2 years they've also started 2-1, so we'll see if the Padres drop Game 3 of this 4-game series against the Diamondbacks. But you never know, and looking down at the division, seeing San Diego 2-0, and then every other team is not 2-0, it's pretty cool.
I'll give you credit. Eric Hosmer's hitting the tar off the ball. He's looking really good so far.
Yeah, he's the front runner for NL MVP right now, and I know that we're just 181st through the season, but it's never too early to start thinking about these things, Ryan. Especially when the guy's on your team and he's the front runner.
2 games in, I don't think he's going to maintain it, but
no, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But
here, no, let me see what this updated WRC plus is. Here you go.
The Padres are looking really good, especially because we were talking the other night. They're not healthy. They're not fully healthy. Without Lamet, without 4 bullpen arms, is that correct?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, okay. Then Grisham's out. So Padres are not.
Austin Nola.
And Austin Nola. I forgot about Austin Nola. But Caratini actually played very well opening day. I think he knocked in 2 runs?
3.
3, okay. But no, I was extremely, extremely impressed with how the Padres have looked. Yeah, it's against the Diamondbacks, but still. The offense is looking good. The bullpen, without a lot of key guys, is going in and shutting down the Diamondbacks offense, which can get hot. Ketel Marte's been hitting the cover off the ball as well. And I think that I know we talked last night. The worst thing that Jace Tingler did was leave stamina in after 30 pitches, but still got the win.
Yeah, that was bad.
But no, I was extremely impressed. You were lucky.
Yeah,
you were lucky. You actually got to watch your team yesterday because you're in a 4-game set.
Right. And if there's one thing to harp on, it's been Jace Tingler has mismanaged the bullpen. Just in one scenario in both games, he ended up leaving Yu Darvish in, and then Darvish surrendered 2 more runs, and then he ended up leaving in Craig Stammen after he had already completed 2 innings of work, had thrown 30 pitches, and then the Diamondbacks best hitter comes up. That's A1 scenario to go make a pitching change. Like, just go. And especially considering how many guys had seen Craig Stammen in the Diamondbacks lineup, because guys go into the dugout and they talk about what has happened, and then to have him face Ketel Marte, like you mentioned, I don't want to take anything away from Ketel Marte because that'd be stupid of me, but he hit the ball well, but he shouldn't have been facing Craig Stammen in that situation. And back on Eric Hosmer, you said it's unobtainable. That's probably pretty true considering his OPS plus is currently at 570, but yeah, he's been off to a great start. He's 6 of 7 with 2 home runs and 6 RBIs. And he set the Padres record for most total bases with 13 through their first 2 games. And he's off to a great start. He also started off great last year, kind of teetered off towards the end. But he's a bat that I think a lot of Padres fans expect to be the 4th, the 5th, or maybe even the 6th best bat in that lineup. And he's already killing it. Fernando Tatis only has 1 hit so far. Manny Machado has 0 hits so far. Yet the Padres are 2-0. So all things are pointing towards very good signs for this Padres team.
Especially once Tatis and Machado get going, that offense is going to be extremely dangerous.
Yeah, and it took Manny about 2.5 weeks last season to get it going. Fernando was going right from the jump. But once Manny got it going, he was the best hitter in all of baseball because he was hitting like 180 through 2.5 weeks. He ended up hitting 300 and had, I believe, 14 home runs. So, yeah, he was killer. Ryan, I have good news for you. So, for our listeners who are catching us for the first time and didn't catch us last year or in the 2019 season, what we do on the show is we talk about golden sombreros, and any golden sombrero is when a batter strikes out 4 times in a game. And we normally, in any other episode, I'd go through every game and I'd give you the golden sombreros. But there was only 2, so I didn't do it this week. Next week, I'll have a golden sombrero report. However, this news was too important to pass up. Yohan Moncada, last night, the Chicago White Sox win, got a platinum sombrero, striking out 5 times against the Angels. So felt the need to say that. Shout
Just so
out to you.
everyone understands why that's good news for me. On a different baseball show that I'm on, I said Yohan Moncada is the most overrated player on the Chicago White Sox. Dom's been giving me a lot of Horace for it, and look what he does: 0 for 5 with 5 strikeouts.
He did not look good. I guess check one victory for Ryan on that aspect.
So I have a question.
But yeah, what?
Are you excited for Paddock Day tomorrow?
I mean, like I am, but I'm worried because Chris looked terrible in spring training, especially at the end. He had ended up having over a 10 ERA, and I don't know. Like things just aren't looking very good for him. He doesn't seem as confident in his fastball, so little command right now, which is what he needs. And we'll see. I mean, it was spring training, so it doesn't matter. But you're still facing against guys who are going hard. They're giving it 100%. So like the results are still results, but they don't matter. So we'll see.
It's okay. I'm excited to see Singer tomorrow.
Who's on the mound? Who's on the mound for game 2?
It's Mike Minor. Minor's going today against his former team, and then Singer's tomorrow. And I am so excited. Love Brady Singer. He looked solid over spring training. His fastball was reaching mid to high 90s. His slider was working. He was looking really good.
All right, yeah. So we got some news to talk about. Let's start with the All-Star game, and then we'll talk about the actual player news, and then we'll talk about some of the other games that have gotten out so far. So baseball announced on Friday that they'd be moving the All-Star game out of Atlanta and away from the Atlanta Braves home ballpark. Location is to be determined, but they moved this because of the voter suppression laws in the state of Georgia. They just didn't want to go and support that. They wanted to make a statement towards the state of Georgia, and that's exactly what they did. So, Ryan, what was your reaction to this?
Honestly, I think it was the right move. I think that when you look at it, the MLB has to continue to do what's best for their players and to stand by them. So I agree with the move. I think that a lot of people are upset in Atlanta, and the Braves are upset, and as any team would be. But it gets to a point where if something like this happens, you have to stand up for your players because they're the ones who are putting out the product. And they're the ones that are continuously going out every day and fighting to win a World Series. So I think Major League Baseball made the right call here. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but personally, I think this is what the MLB had to do.
I agree with you too on this aspect. And in the grand scheme of things, I mean, it's an all-star game. It's not a huge deal. Like for the city of Atlanta, once they do end up changing this policy in Georgia, they will get the all-star game. I'm very confident in that aspect because Atlanta, it's a great baseball town, especially according to the wise Matt Kemp. And they have a very beautiful stadium, a very populous city that, can be a tourist attraction. Now, it's going to be miserable there in the summer, but it's still, I've had the pleasure of going to multiple All-Star games. It's an awesome experience. And I do feel bad for the Atlanta Braves fans who, I don't want to say like unwillingly no longer have the All-Star game, because if they support this policy, then that's part of the problem. And I do think this was a good move by the MLB to support its African-American players who were very strong and outright against this issue. So this is a good move by the baseball. They said, hey, we want to make it very clear where we stand on this topic, and that's what they've done. Like you said, a lot of people disagree, and then a lot of people are like, well, let's keep politics out of sports. It's kind of hard to do that nowadays, and the people who say let's keep politics out of sports are the people who disagree with the given politics within that. So it's like, what are we doing here? And I think that this is a fine decision by baseball. Like I said, it sucks for the fans of Atlanta, but they'll get an All-Star game eventually. And I have a question for you. Where do you think the All-Star game could end up being moved to?
It's tough because Personally, you know where I want it to be, but it all depends on mandates with COVID and all the vaccination stuff going on around there. So I don't know where exactly they're thinking about having it, but moving it so close, I think puts a lot of pressure on that city to get something like the hype so quickly. So I don't know where it could be, but I don't think that's going to be anywhere too far from Atlanta.
Well, I got a very easy answer for you, Ryan. They're going to go to Globe Life Park. They're going to go back to where they held the World Series and the NLCS with fans, especially considering that when Texas opens up next week, I forget who they're playing, or on Monday, they will have 100% capacity at their stadium. And it makes sense for baseball if that's the decision they end up going with, because they can go full capacity. It's a brand new stadium, can attract people there. It just makes a ton of sense. And especially considering the fact that Texas is a place that I think people will want to go to because there's not a ton of COVID heavy restrictions if you're about that. And I don't think if you're going to travel for the All-Star game, that's something that you want to be concerned with. So I think Texas is probably where they'll end up moving it to. I mean, you mentioned you wanted to be at Kauffman. That would be cool. I remember the Kauffman All-Star game was pretty cool. And those light powder blue uniforms were pretty awesome. And I also think that San Diego would be another great spot for the All-Star game because San Diego is a place where people would want to go. Now, at the same time, talking about COVID protocols, California, very up in the air of what things are going to be looking like in the next 3 months, given that, it's pandemic. We don't really know. Things are getting better. Padres currently have 20% capacity at Petco Park, and they're looking to expand it soon as the protocols keep loosening up as the hospital beds keep getting less and less full, I guess would be the word. And the tier system that California uses, they keep moving into the better tiers. So it could be a possible location, but I think Texas makes the most sense, especially considering the fact that they don't want to go to Florida because the Miami All-Star game was pitiful, and that was the first ever All-Star game in either my Florida city for a reason, because they don't reward the fan bases who don't show up. And I think that Texas is the ideal location for this, and I think that's ultimately where it's going to end up being. What do you think of that, Ryan?
It wouldn't shock me. I think it would actually be a good call because they're at 100% capacity and new stadium. People want to go to it. So I think that would garner a lot of attention and a lot of hype. So I think that's a really good call. San Diego is a great spot. It just depends on the mask mandate and COVID protocols. So that's really what it depends on. I actually don't mind that option for either place. But news just did come across that the Diamondbacks are bringing up shortstop prospect Geraldo Perdomo, one of the top prospects in baseball.
That is certainly interesting because they've been playing Josh Rojas the first 2 games as shortstop. He hasn't really done much after having a just absolutely fantastic spring. I think that's interesting. We'll see if they end up playing him. Like I said, Jeff Passan's the person who reported this, and he doesn't think it's going to be permanent. I don't think it will be either. But hey, I'll look forward to watching him play today or tomorrow, whenever he goes.
Probably go tomorrow, I would assume.
Probably. All right, let's move on to the actual baseball news, and let's talk about Francisco Lindor getting a massive contract extension, 10-year, $341 million deal. It's funny because, the 340 is the number that Tatis got, and Lindor wanted to pass that by $1 million, and that is what he did. So I think this is great for baseball, great for Lindor, and great for the Mets. What do you think?
I think they overpaid him. I think that looking at it, it's a great deal for Lindor. I think it's a fine deal for the Mets. They get their shortstop of the future. And you knew it was going to happen when they traded for him. They weren't just going to let him walk. They were going to give him a lot of money, and that's what they did. I personally disagree. I think he got way too much money. I don't think Francisco Lindor is worth $34 million a year. Don't get me wrong. He is a very, very good baseball player. And that is not what I'm trying to say. I think that personally, people are overrating him. And yeah, he is still a top 20, top 15 player in the league, but he is not a top 3 shortstop. Look at how he played last year. In 60 games, he had a career worst 258 season, hitting only 8 home runs, driving in 27 runs. He was not good last year. And he wanted a ton of money from Cleveland, and they said no because they're a smaller market team. They ship him to the Mets for not a ton, nearly next to nothing, not as bad as the Arenado trade, of course. And the Mets give him the money that he wants, and I personally disagree with the contract. He wanted $385 over 12 years. I would have never done that deal. I think it's weird that they gave him a deal. He'll be 38 when that deal is up. I don't know if giving a 28-year-old shortstop a 10-year deal is the right move. That's just me personally, and I also just don't think that he should have been paid that much. I think that he could have been paid $300 million. That would have been fine over 10 years. I would not have given him $341. I think Tatis deserves more than him. I think a guy like Trevor Story deserves more than him. And honestly, I think there's a case that Trey Turner might deserve more than him. And I just think that the Mets felt that they had to sign him, and he put the ultimatum on him, and they fell for it. And they knew they had to do it. So that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also in the camp that Lindor is a bit overrated. I think that some people think he's a top 10 player. I think you look at the statistics and what he's done. He's a fantastic player. You and I both agree he's the second best shortstop in all baseball. Taking nothing away from him. So, but I agree. He's definitely a little bit, just a tad bit overrated. Now, I mean, I know that you have some opinions on what I think of some players, so that is fine there too. But I mean, 10 years, $341 million, it's a lot of money. And I think that the fact that Lindor got this coming off the worst year of his career, like you mentioned, is certainly interesting. He's going to bounce back. I'm fairly confident in that. He, of course, hasn't played yet because of the Nationals having a positive COVID tests. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But, you got to overpay your players when giving them these massive contracts if you want to be able to keep them, because he could have said, you know what, hey, that's fine. Let me go on a ball this year, and I'll go into free agency, and there will be other people giving me the money. And when you gave up assets to get me, and then you're not going to extend me, I'm just going to go somewhere else and get paid more. And the Mets had to pay him. They had to overpay him. I don't think any baseball player is worth $34 million, not even Mike Trout. But that's just the way the contracts have been given out lately in Major League Baseball. So I think that it's fantastic for the Mets that they now have their shortstop for the next 10 years. I think it's fantastic for baseball that Francisco Lindor is going to be in a big market where he's treated well, unlike where he was in Cleveland. Now, they put talent around him, but the fact that they'd want to pay him is quite honestly a travesty. What Francisco Lindor did for that organization, being drafted in the first round, I don't think you can ask for anything else. He won multiple Gold Gloves, multiple Silver Sluggers, took him to a World Series where there were a couple of things going their way from winning it, and they end up deciding, I don't want to say kick him to the curb, but they end up trading him. And it's a shame that they didn't want to pay him, but the Mets did, and he got paid. Now he's in a spot where he's going to be treated well, and I think that's good for baseball.
Yeah, it's great for baseball that a guy like Francisco Lindor got a big contract, and he's going to be with the Mets for a long time because it excites Mets fans because they wanted him. From the moment that there were talks of him being traded, Mets fans were all over it, and that's great for them to get him. And it's great for baseball to see another guy get a lot of money after really playing a key piece and getting a team that really struggled in the playoffs and really getting to the playoffs for a long time to the World Series, and they just fell short. But money's a little high for me.
That's fine. Let's talk about the other contract extension that we had this past week. David Fletcher signed a 5-year, $26 million extension with the Los Angeles Angels. A lot of people don't know who David Fletcher is because, of course, he plays for the Angels, small market team, obviously overshadowed by the Los Angeles Dodgers, and they frankly just haven't won while Fletcher's been there. But he's a really fun player to watch, really good in the field, really small guy, and he does everything to put the ball in play. High average guy, can steal bases. He's just a fun player. What did you think of this extension, Ryan?
I thought they got him for a very, very friendly contract. I think it's a great deal. I think that he is going to be a big reason why the Angels are going to be competitive in that division. I think that his ability to make contact, get on base, and then be a threat on the bases is exactly what the Angels need. They have the power bats in Trout, Pujols, Rendon, and all those guys. They need that contact bat, and they have it with guys like Fletcher and Jose Iglesias. So I really like David Fletcher. He's also a great fielder. So this is a great deal as the Angels lock up a guy that's going to be a key piece for them over the next 5 years. So I think it's a great deal and very friendly as well because I think he's only going to get better.
Yeah, he actually got an MVP vote in 2020, which I did not know. It's kind of funny. But yeah, I think it's a very great deal. 2020 wasn't his best year, but he's still going to be fine. Or what am I looking at? Okay, to start, I'm not going to speak on that. All right, Fletcher's amazing. I really like what he's done so far. The glove and the contact at second base is exactly what you want. And like you mentioned, really cheap deal here. Okay, that wraps up our latest in baseball news. Let's now talk about, what's gone down so far this weekend. And when you look at the standings in baseball, we currently have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 undefeated teams remaining. Of course, 2 of them are on the show. Only 3 of the teams are 2-0, which, of course, my Padres are, along with the Astros and the Rays. Give me someone who has impressed you so far in the season, or just some performances.
I told you about Eric Hosmer, who I thought was terrific. I think some other guys that you have to look at. Tyler Glasnow was exceptional on opening day. He was terrific. I was extremely impressed with Tyler Glasnow. It was a 1-0 game. And that's just insane to think about, is that he was able to dominate like that when the offense wasn't rolling. He is a Cy Young candidate, and he proved that. Also, Yerman Mercedes, 5 for 5 last night. He was insane at the plate. Jose Abreu also hit the first Grand Slam of the year. So there are some guys that have looked really good. And I think the White Sox lineup has really shown its power. And then Tyler Glasnow getting it done on the mound. And then my NL Rookie of the Year, Brian Hayes, first at-bat of the season, sends one over the wall at Wrigley. So that's good to see that my NL Rookie of the Year pick looking strong so far. So I really like what some of these guys have done. Those are my main 4 that I would say. What about you, Dom?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're going to give a shout-out to your NL Rookie of the Year, I guess I'll give a shout-out to mine as well. Dylan Carlson also went yard in his first at-bat. His was off of Luis Castillo, which I guess is a little bit more impressive than Kyle Hendricks. But, yeah, our picks are off to a good start. Ian Anderson, I believe, makes his season debut tonight. Or did he start on Friday?
The Braves didn't play.
I know.
The Braves didn't play yesterday.
Okay, so yeah, he starts tonight.
Yeah.
I know Freed took the ball on opening day and he looked fine. But yeah, so you mentioned some of the key guys. How about Buster Posey? He's got 2 home runs in his first 2 games. A lot of people were wondering, how is he going to come back after not playing in the 2020 season while sitting out due to COVID-19 concerns? And he's got 2 home runs through 2 games. Those are his only 2 hits so far, but hey, 2 solo home runs off the bat of Buster Posey. That's good for the Giants to have that veteran bat back in their lineup, because Joey Bart struggled last year. He wasn't ready. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he got drafted in 2019, and he ended up being their catcher last year. But now they have that veteran catcher in Posey, and I think that is something to certainly watch out for. How about John Means? going 7 scoreless against the Boston Red Sox on opening day. And all three of us agreed that we did not buy into the Red Sox hype, that they were a team that could potentially push for a playoff berth. That core is back. Some of their pitchers are back. We didn't buy into it. And a lot of people said that because of their lineup and, how good their lineup is. And then John Means comes in those 7 shutout innings of one-hit baseball in the first game back, and that was not a good look for those people at all. Now, just one game, but at the same time, that was not a very good impression based off what had happened so far. Trevor Bauer took a no-hitter into the 7th inning. He ended up getting Coors after that, ended up allowing 4 earned runs that inning, but he looked really good. And there's a lot of people who were very high on Bauer. They're like, yo, Bauer, come to our team. And he goes to the Dodgers, which, of course, was a very hateable move, and because everyone hates the Dodgers. And everyone's like, oh, well, Bauer's not that good anyways. Mickey Mouse division in the NL Central, all this blah, blah, blah. And that's nonsense. They're all professional hitters. You're discrediting everyone in the NL Central too much by saying that. A lot of really talented players in that division too. Like, just a really dumb argument anyways. He comes out and he shuts them up in the first game. Now, if you look on the box score, 6 1/3, 4 earned. It's, it could be better, but when you look at it, what he was doing going into that 7th inning, it's tough to throw no-hitters at Coors. The outfield is so big, and if you get under it, it can carry out of the ballpark. So I give a lot of props to what he did in his first start in Dodger Blue. I hope this never happens again, of course, because I hate the Dodgers, and I need them to not win the division this year. It needs to go to the Padres, but he looked good. That, of course, is a sign for concern.
Yeah, he looked really good. And looking at the box score, Leclerc's out as the 4 earned runs, but like you said, it's incredible that he went 6 innings with a no-hitter at Coors. Especially with what you said. Yeah, field. You get under it, that ball can travel. It's the Coors.
No, and I mean the biggest part of having a no-hitter at Coors is the fact that the outfield is massive. There's a lot of places for the ball to drop.
Yeah. It's a huge outfield. Bauer did a great job. And I think that it was funny that Corey Seager after the game said, I was shocked that any pitcher could go 6 innings with a no-hitter at Coors, because it's that hard to do. Because, like you said, there's so many areas for the ball to drop, huge gap. I think that Trevor Bauer had quite the start to open up his Dodger career, I would say.
Yeah, it's just funny, like looking at his baseball reference page. I mean, he's 1-0. He got the win because, of course, he pitched really well. He's got a 5.68 ERA, which, of course, is not indicative of how he pitched. But the 5.6 ERA goes with a .789 WHIP. That's just funny. You got one really good stat there, and you got one not good. But of course, that's what happens with small sample sizes. So yeah. That's just funny. And then, did you catch what happened to Cody Bellinger on opening day?
I was watching it live. I was like, and I thought it was really funny watching it because it looked like it was robbed, and it just fell out of the mitt. And I think it was Raimel Tapia. Was he the one in left field?
Tapia.
Yes. Yeah. It looked like he made the play and it just popped out of his glove. And Turner starts running back, and Bellinger's screaming at him, go, and then goes past him. And Bellinger doesn't even get credited with the home run. He gets credited with the single and an RBI.
Yeah, it was also kind of an umpire botch there because in that situation, ball goes over the fence. Cody Bellinger, as soon as he passes the guy, Turner's out. He can keep going, but Turner's out. So it was really weird how they didn't give him a home run. And now it's only a 1-run home run because he did pass Turner, so Turner is out. But that was just really weird. I frankly didn't understand the call, but I mean, it's a good sign for Dodger fans that Cody Bellinger was able to go yard on opening day after he struggled in 2019 or 2020. He did not struggle in 2019. That was
no, he did not.
Couldn't be any more wrong there. That was a complete misspeak on my part. But yeah, that was just a really weird play. it was funny. Baseball's back. Only when weird stuff's happening can we really be confident that baseball's back, and that was certainly an indication of it.
My parents are watching the show, and my mom just texted me, "We love the Dodgers. Plus, the Padres wear brown. Nobody can root for them."
Sherry. I'm sorry. You're going to be watching the Brown very deep in October this year, so you can root against us all you want, but it's going to be on your TV screens on Fox for a very long time this year. Very confident in that. But yeah, it was weird. And then the Giants, they had a very, very Giants thing to do. Giants, even when they were that powerhouse team in the NL West, winning 3 World Series in 5 years, their bullpen was still shaky. Ask any Giants fan about it. They'll always talk about how bad their bullpen was. Now, I mean, guys like Brian Wilson, Sergio Romo, they were certainly consistent for them, but bullpen was never consistent. And that, of course, has been further exemplified over the past couple of years when they haven't been winning. And then opening day 2021, their bullpen just absolutely blows it. Just to have Alex Dickerson in a game-tying home run in the top of the ninth, for them to blow it again and walk every run home. It was certainly a sight to see for me. I found that very enjoying because, the Giants, I don't hate them as much as the Dodgers, anywhere near the Dodgers, but they've certainly had their fair share of beating up on the Padres, and it was good to see them do that again.
Let's be honest. Dom, every team in that division has had their fair share of beating up on the Padres.
You're not wrong there, Ryan. You
can say it about the Royals. Every team's beating up on the Royals.
Right. No, you're right. You're making me sad though.
How can you be sad? Your team is 2-0 and a top 3 team in baseball.
Yeah, no. I'm happy, but thinking about the past, a lot of bad memories. But yeah,
as a Royals fan, you have to live in the past of 2014 and 15.
It's all right. I believe you guys will be good in a couple of years and get back there. So yeah, don't really have too much to talk about. I want to talk about Jack Leiter. He's been someone that I've found. I've been watching some of his starts when they're nationally televised. If anyone doesn't know who Jack Leiter is, starting pitcher at Vanderbilt. He's a right-handed starter. He's absolutely electric, and so far through his junior year, he has 14.8 strikeouts per 9 innings in 36 innings and has a .25 ERA. And it's hard to believe this, Ryan, but he's not even the projected first overall pick because he's not even the best pitcher on his team. That goes to Kumar Rocker. And Leiter's been phenomenal this year. I don't know if you've got a chance to watch him.
I have been able to watch both of them a tiny bit. They're both exceptional. Leiter's also been able to do some things with the bat as well because I've seen him hit a little bit, but oh my gosh, on the bump, he is insane. .25 ERA. He has 59 strikeouts, and he's only thrown 36 innings. And then Kumar Rocker, the projected number 1 pick in this upcoming draft, those two are a duo like no other in college baseball. And it is honestly a treat to watch those two go out and pitch because they both are so dominant. Rocker's got that high velocity fastball, and then Leiter just everything that you see from Leiter. He's got great movement on his off speed. He's got some great speed on the fastball. He does it all, and that K per 9 is insane. But look at last year in 15 and 2/3 last year, he had a 12.6 strikeouts per 9. So it's not too insane to think about compared to last year, but he's been exceptional so far.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's never too early to look ahead to the MLB draft. It's 2 months away. And here at college, we've been paying more attention to college baseball. Arizona State's fairly good. They're not going to host a regional, but they'll be close. They'll certainly make the postseason. So they've been fun to watch. All right. We have one more topic to discuss before we head out. We're going to end a little early, but that's fine. Never too bad to end early. Let's talk about the games that we have on the docket today. 14 games on this fine Saturday. If you're listening to this on Monday, you can look back at a at these games, but we got 3 games at the 1 o'clock Eastern time for first pitch. We have the Corey Kluber Yankees debut as they try to bounce back after they lost to the Blue Jays. Matt Harvey is pitching for the Orioles, which is absolutely fantastic, going up against Tanner Hook of the Boston Red Sox. Really young, promising pitcher there. And in the AL Central, you got Zach Plesac making his 2021 debut. I won't lie, Ryan. I saw some people give Zach Plesac a little bit of Cy Young hype. What do you think of that?
Zach Plesac's really good. I don't know if he's Cy Young yet. He could be a dark horse, but I wouldn't give him too much hype yet. It just depends on how the season goes. He was good last year. Plesac, he's just one of those guys that have just been able to develop with the Indians because they just know how to develop pitchers. Look who they have had. Shane Bieber, Mike Clevenger, and all those guys. Last year, in 55 and a third innings, he had 2.8 ERA. So Plesac definitely could get some hype, but personally, I wouldn't give it to him. Next year, he could definitely be a candidate, though, if he pitches really well this year.
Yeah, you got to start off with a good start, especially when you're going up against the Tigers. Bieber looked fine. He was pitching in the snow, though, so it's hard to put too much weight in that game. They'll be going up against Julio Teheran of the Tigers, so that'll be interesting. Rangers at Royals, 2 Eastern first pitch. Arihara for the Rangers. I don't even know his first name. That just speaks volumes to the rotation. They're 2 pitcher. I don't even know his first name. That's rough. Going up against Mike Minor, like you talked about earlier this show. You confident the Royals can start off 2-0, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm very confident. I think that Mike Minor's going to pitch well against his former team, and I think the offense is going to get it done. Hunter Dozier is not playing. He is resting after the right thumb contusion, so Ansel Alberto will be at third. But the offense proved that they could get it done at any spot, and all it takes was a couple leadoff hits. That's what it was with Witt and Benintendi. And I'm still waiting for Salvi to get going. He had an RBI because he walked with the bases loaded, but he was one of the few Royals that did not record a hit. So I want to see him get some in the grass in the outfield. So I'm excited, and I think the Royals will come away with it.
Yeah, Royals certainly got a favorable start to the season schedule-wise, getting the Rangers. Padres got down back, so it could have been worse. But Rangers, widely considered the worst team in baseball, and it's hard to disagree with that. NL Central, 2:20 first pitch. Got Tyler Anderson going up against Jake Arrieta, part 2 of this Cubs tenure. We'll see if the Cubs can bounce back after losing to another team that's considered to be the worst team in baseball, as the Pirates jumped on the Cubs in Game 1. And then Braves, Phillies. No, it is not going to be Ian Anderson. It's actually Charlie Morton versus Zach Wheeler in Game 2. That'll be a fascinating matchup. The Phillies ended up taking Game 1, which kind of shocked a lot of people. But Aaron Nola, he's a fantastic pitcher, ended up
their bullpen looked good. Their bullpen did a great job shutting them down. Really, I was very impressed because that was the emphasis for the Phillies, was to shore up that bullpen and to make sure JT Realmuto came back. That bullpen looked good. And I just think that the Braves, they're going to get going. I think that Nashville looked pretty good on the mound. Charlie Morton's making his debut. I think he's going to pitch well. That lineup is still extremely dangerous, and you saw that. Even with Pablo Sandoval even hitting a home run on opening day. So I definitely think that they'll be able to avoid a pretty slow start and get a win today and even tomorrow with Ian Anderson on the mound. So they're going to look good. I'm just excited for this team when Mike Soroka returns.
Yeah, Cub Fat Panda. He made his presence felt. That was pretty electric to see that again. Astros Athletics, 4 o'clock Eastern first pitch out here on the West Coast. Got Lance McCullers Jr. of the Astros going up against Cole Irvin of the A's. That's interesting that Cole Irvin's in at the 3 spot for the A's. The A's, they're one of 2-0-3, or they're one of 3 0-2 teams. So they're still looking for their first win of the season. Back out in the Central, Cardinals versus Reds. Adam Wainwright, he's still going, and that's pretty fantastic. Going up against Tyler Mahle of the Reds. We'll see if the Cardinals can take advantage of the fact that Sonny Gray is not pitching for the Reds right now. Back out east in Florida, Rays versus Marlins. Rays looking to go to 3-0. Rich Hill making his Rays debut, going up against Eliezer Hernandez, an electric young pitcher for the Marlins. That should be a very entertaining game. Back on the Central, Twins, Brewers. The Twins had the Brewers on the ropes. Then they absolutely threw it away. Josh Hader ended up getting the win. Barrios is going for the Twins. That's their second guy. Going up against Corbin Burns, who I'm very high on. I drafted him in a lot of my fantasy leagues after his really good 2020 season. A lot of people don't really know about him because the Brewers weren't winning, and he wasn't a guy that got a ton of popularity. But I think this year he could really put himself on the map, and that it would certainly be a good start against a very potent Twins lineup to start. That is a 7 o'clock first pitch. 8 o'clock first pitch up in the mountains. Walker Buehler makes his 2021 debut. He's your starting award pick, so we'll see how it starts. Obviously, he's got the repertoire to dominate in Coors Field, given the.
No, I think he's gonna pitch well. My dad and I talked. He's afraid about Kershaw. I'm like, Dad, it's the Coors effect. Like, yeah, he didn't look great, but you still gotta watch. You still can't take it fully. It's hard to pitch extremely well at Coors, but he'll be fine. I think he'll bounce back.
Yeah, I mean, Kershaw's not going to have a 5+ ERA, his ERA is up above 9 right now. But yeah, I mean, he'll bounce back. I did say when we previewed the NL West on here, I think this is the year that Kershaw's above a 3.5 ERA. If you look at the analytics from last year, he frankly statistically got lucky last year. The balls were hit harder against him last year, but his defense made enough plays. He struck enough guys out, but the fastball velocity, it's not where it once was. The slider movement, it's not where it once was. He's not as good of a pitcher. He's still a top-of-the-line rotation pitcher. He's still going to be sub-4, but I think it could be around a 3.5 ERA this year. And I don't want to say like, oh, his first start was bad. Credit to me. Because you mentioned it was in Coors. Pitching in Coors sucks because I've watched my Padres go there, and ERA is just going to die. It sucks. Can't strike guys out. You get crushed. And that certainly was the case for him. And he took the L on day one. But, yeah, your dad shouldn't be concerned. He'll be fine.
Yeah. No, I think Kershaw will find a way to turn it around. This could be the year that he goes above 3.5. Personally, I think he'll be hanging around there, around a 3.3, 3.4. But you could be right. Analytics, I think they're a little bit overblown, personally. The game's become so analytical more than strategic. So, but no, I definitely agree with you. Kershaw is not the same pitcher as he once was, but he's still a top tier pitcher, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, he'll still be good. All right, 3 more games to talk about. 8:40 Eastern first pitch. Baseball night in America's finest city. It's always electric. Caleb Smith going up against Joe Musgrove. Musgrove making his Padres debut in his hometown. I can't wait to watch this. It's going to be electric, and that should be fun to watch. 9 Eastern first pitch, White Sox, Angels. Lance Lynn makes his White Sox debut going up against Alex Cobb of the Angels. I believe that's Alex Cobb's Angels debut. And then Logan Webb of the Giants going up against Chris Flexen of the Mariners. That is also a 9-10 first pitch. So that is what the baseball scene looks like today on this fine Saturday. Final Four basketball. You got your Final Four shirt on. Ryan, what are your predictions for today's Final Four?
Zaga and Baylor are going to be in the national championship.
All right. And hey, Ryan, so listen, the way this is recorded, this is going to be on air after the national championship's over. You have a chance to predict. If anyone is listening on BlazeRadioOnline.com right now, we are not live. We are recording this on Saturday. Before the championship games, does Gonzaga cut down the nets?
No. Baylor. I think Baylor's going to do it. And
all right, you're listening right now.
That pains me to say because I don't like Baylor because I'm a KU fan. But I think Baylor's going to cut down the nets. That team can just light it up from 3, and when they're nearly unbeatable.
Yeah, I disagree. What?
Go ahead. Give your predictions for the Final Four. Then I do have a question to ask you.
No, I do think that it'll be Gonzaga. I don't think that Baylor plays as good of team basketball as Gonzaga does. They don't look just as strong as a team. And Gonzaga has mowed through everyone in the tournament. Baylor's had a couple of close calls when Villanova had them on the ropes for a long time, and then Baylor ended up running away from them in the second half. And then Arkansas, they made it a 4-point game after being down by 18. So Gonzaga hasn't had a problem with that. So I think Gonzaga ends up getting it done.
Now I have to ask you, what do you think about the Nationals and their COVID fiasco right now? Second straight year that Juan Soto has missed opening day.
Well, I saw that they had no positive tests on Saturday morning, so they're gonna get tested again Saturday night. If those results come back negative and then they come back negative on Sunday, they will begin their season on Monday with strict policies underneath them. So it sucks obviously to not have Juan Soto playing opening day again. We don't know who tested positive given the HIPAA rules, but I certainly hope it's not him. I wish that we didn't have to hope he'd test positive because that means that some other people have tested positive in their organization. It was at least 3 players. I don't think it was ever confirmed that it was 4. I know they were skeptical of it, but certainly a tough way to start your season. And
I also saw
Mets Nationals
positive too.
Strasburg?
No, staff member.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. If it was Strasburg, that's a mess.
Yeah, but the Nationals flew on 2 separate planes when they found out that they had the positive test. So the people who were on the one plane ended up quarantining, and then the other people on the other plane, they've been fine. And like I said, we don't know any names, so it's all speculation at this point. We'll have a pretty good idea when things come around on Monday, and they're gonna say COVID-19 protocols, which it's like, okay, might as well come out and say it now, but we'll get ahead of it. We'll be classy. We'll say the Golden Sombrero shows hopes that whoever tested positive stays safe in the Nationals organization because we care.
Yeah, it sucks that we didn't get to watch him play. I thought that was going to be a very good opening night matchup between Scherzer and DeGrom, but the main thing is making sure everyone is staying healthy, staying safe, following protocols, quarantine, do what they have to do to get healthy and go out and play. That's what's most important. But when these two teams face off, it's going to be electric to see DeGrom and Scherzer go at it.
Absolutely. It'll be fun. All right. You got anything else to add for this Golden Sombrero show?
Yes, I'm going to go back to my Final Four real quick. Yes, what I am saying is bold, and I would rather see Gonzaga cut down the nets because I love Mark Few and I love what he's done at Gonzaga. I just have a gut feeling that Baylor's going to do it.
As do I. Well, I love Gonzaga, and I think they get it done this year. It feels like their year. And, I mean, it's also Baylor's year, but the nation also deserves Gonzaga Baylor. Right? Anything else baseball related? Or pretty good?
I'm going to say this. The defending champions from last year lost in the second round. KU.
That is, yeah.
KU was in such a good position to win it last year. That was so frustrating because they had Azubuike and Doak and all those guys. So frustrating.
Azubuike and Doak.
I meant Azubuike and Dotson. Early morning. Yeah,
exactly.
Those two.
All right. I don't got anything else to add, so we're just going to wrap up the show a couple minutes early. Thank you all for tuning into the Golden Sombrero Show. Cole Bradley will join us live on YouTube next Saturday, or at least I assume so. Ryan, it's a great show. Good to always talk about baseball with you.
Yeah.
Hopefully our 2 teams stay undefeated today on Saturday and going forward. Realistically, it's not going to happen for that long, but you never know.
Because the Royals travel to Cleveland. It'll be interesting.
Yep. All right. That's going to wrap up this episode of the Golden Sombrero Show. I'm Dominic Stern. That was Ryan Blank. We thank you all for tuning in on Saturday on YouTube or on Monday on BlazeRadioOnline.com. This has been the Golden Sombrero Show. You can catch us live next Saturday at 9 a.m. on YouTube or on BlazeRadioOnline.com at 10 p.m.